Hi, everyone. Welcome to my second episode of, I'm just putting myself on. I always have to put myself on Facebook. My second episode of Sacred Site Multidimensional Me. And to the people that joined me last week, thank you so much for joining me. This week, we're talking a little bit about some of the same stuff. It's kind of build on it. But we're also going to discuss um, some newer aspects of it too. I'm waiting for this thing to pop up so I can put it on Facebook, but sometimes it takes a minute. I got a lag. Hi, Stephanie. How are you? Thank you for joining me. um, so we were talking about multidimensionality kind of as a whole, and we were talking about last time about living in a holographic um, in a hologram. And so this time we're going to talk about parallel lives and how those kind of go together. I'm not sure why this isn't popping up on Facebook. It says it's on there. Sorry about this. I'm just trying to make sure that it gets up. I'll check back in a minute. Anyway, so last time we were talking about that. This time I want to show how parallel lives, um, will kind of merge with that and what it is, what it means, and how it all works. So let me see if this popped up yet. So yeah, it's showing up on that, but it's not showing up on my timeline. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get this going. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. Hi, Ken. How are you? Hey, Johnny. Thank you. Hi. Thanks for coming. I know you're busy at work. I'm trying to put this on Facebook too, and for some reason it is not showing up on my feed, so I can add it. So that's not good. I don't know. All right. Well, I guess I'm just gonna have to move on. Anyway, so to talk about some of the stuff we were gonna hit on today, which I think is really interesting, to talk about parallel lives, and how the other lives can influence you. Um, so, what if versions of you exist in different timelines, and they're making different choices, and they're still influencing your current reality? I mean, could that be a thing? Do you think that that's a thing? In the previous episode, we explored the quantum nature of reality and the holographic universe, and how our perception extends beyond the five senses into multidimensional awareness. We've seen how everything is interconnected, how consciousness isn't bound by a linear timeline and physical space. So today we're going to expand on that foundation by diving into the concept of parallel lives, um, how other versions of you influence your current reality, and how you can consciously engage with them if you're doing that. If we exist as multidimensional beings, then parallel selves aren't just a possibility, they're a natural extension of our infinite nature, right? Because we're saying that this is like a normal thing. This is life. This is how it works. So if that's the case, and there are these parallel selves, then it's not just like a possibility, right? It would just be how it is, how it works, which is really interesting. And there are scientific theories that support parallel lives in quantum mechanics. Um, and have you heard of Hugh Everett III? He wrote a book, and he proposed this many worlds interpretation. I'm just going to check this again, see if it popped up yet. I'm not sure why this isn't showing up for me to be able to add it. Weird. Um, I don't know how to make it the privacy. Let's see if this will do it. That's public. I don't know, guys. I don't know why it's not on there. Sorry to anyone that was waiting on Facebook. I don't know. Anyway, so he wrote this many worlds interpretation in 1957, and the core idea was just that every time a decision's made, the universe splits into multiple timelines where every possible outcome occurs. Which I heard, with Marina Jacobi, she talks about that too. And that suggests that there are infinite versions of you. In each of them are making different choices, and each are like living different lives. It reminds me of that movie that Gwyneth Paltrow did, Sliding Doors. Did anybody ever see that in the 90s? That was like really good. I think that was the 90s. That was really good. Um, Scientific experiments have been done to support this. So there was that one by John Wheeler, the delayed choice quantum eraser, and it demonstrated that decisions made in the present can affect the past, reinforcing the idea of parallel lives. So what do you guys think about the concept of parallel lives? Is that something that you guys buy into and think that, this is a possibility, or or what do you think about that? Um, Hi, how are you? Along 62. Let's see. I just wanted to wrap my brain around helping me in this life for those lives and how to stop them from interfering in this life. Oh, we're going to touch on that. We're going to touch on that. Hey, Nat, how are you? Um, yeah, it's all entangled, John's saying. Yeah, so they all affect each other. I think so. I think that's how it works. It's really interesting. Um, okay, so as far as parallel lives go, when we're talking about that, Nassim Haramein, which is a physicist that I was talking about last week, who developed the groundbreaking unified field theory that suggests that like all things are infinitely connected through the quantum vacuum. Um, he argues that every proton in the universe is connected through higher dimensional like energy field. So it's like John was just talking about, if everything's entangled in the quantum field on that quantum level, is it possible that multiple versions of you are exchanging information and influencing each other? Tyler Koala and I discussed that in my interview with him on Journey to Truth last month. We touched on that a little bit. Um, an example of that would be like spontaneous knowledge or skills you've never learned but suddenly you remember, um, that you may have downloaded from like another version of yourself. Have you heard of those examples? Have you ever heard of examples of those? The key concept of it would be like your Taurus energy field and consciousness. Your personal energy field, your Taurus, is an extension of a greater universal field. So it would be like allowing information exchange between the parallel versions of yourself because it's all in the field. It's all there. And then Marina Jacobi, which if you have read my book, she was a very large influence on me, and she talks about quantum manifestation and parallel timelines. She is a channeler, if you don't know who she is, and a researcher. And she combines quantum physics with consciousness to explain like timeline shifts and interdimensional existence. And she talks about the quantum structure model, and that suggests that time isn't linear, but instead a series of parallel frequencies. And that each one of those frequencies are realities that we shift between constantly. She teaches that every choice you make instantly shifts you into a different timeline version of yourself. So if you were consciously choosing love over fear, you'd align with the timeline where that more enlightened version of you exists. Um, so the implication would be that you're constantly moving between versions of yourself, but you can also like learn to direct that based on your frequency that you hold and also where you want to go. So it's just like in a conscious awareness of that. So, I mean, what do you guys think of that? Do you believe in like shifting millions of times per second? Does that something that resonates with you? It did with me. Um, Only because I started recognizing you can change your timeline, your frequency in a moment, right? You can have a really good day and then you can get into a fender bender and it changes things, and you can feel like ever since this one interaction, ever since this one thing happened, your day kind of fell apart and everything kind of went to shit, and you're just like, it was that one thing. But could that be that you put yourself on a more negative timeline? Um, let's see what this says. That's funny. Just did a reading with Allison, and the answer to one of my questions was having memories of parallel lives. Yeah, it's really interesting. Um, Thank you, Stephanie. That was with Tyler. Yeah. And a new earth each time. Yeah. Like lots of seconds you're just recreating. You can have similar to what you just were at, but it can be a little bit different depending on the frequency that you hold. I think it's possible, but so hard to think we're being influenced by other selves on other timelines. Yeah, yeah, it's hard to wrap your head around because it's so different, than what we've always talked about or whatever. And why would that matter to you in your life? It's these theories would suggest that you're never stuck, right? If you're constantly shifting between versions of yourself. It's also understanding parallel lives can help you access skills, wisdom, and healing from other versions of you. And then, you know, in this Sacred Sites episode, I want to explore how to recognize when you're being influenced by another self and how to consciously connect with your parallel lives for like guidance and transformation, because it doesn't have to be negative. We always think of it in those terms because I don't know, I think we're wired for that. Like there's this fear factor to these esoteric ideas and the things that we're talking about, but it doesn't have to be, you know? Um, so let's talk about the science and spirituality of parallel lives. In quantum superposition, it's like that many worlds theory. In quantum mechanics, particles exist in multiple states at once. That's superposition. Could consciousness behave in the same way as particles? Why wouldn't it? The dogs are going to bark. I'm sorry. My daughters are home, so I'm wondering if I should mute. Commander, do not bark. That's the sable shepherd, and he has no manners, right? You gonna bark? Sorry, guys. I'm gonna check Facebook really quick while I'm waiting to see if he's gonna lose his mind or not. It popped up. Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna put this up and then, good. Okay. So I'm on there. If he barks, I apologize. He's so loud, you guys, and he has no manners. Do not bark, Commander. Okay, let's see. Next, we're at just reprinting your hologram. Yeah. Let's see. I believe I'm clicking my heels together like Dorothy and Wizard of Oz. That resonates, but my mind is such a disbeliever. I know, it's crazy. But we can also talk about neuroplasticity. In research, it suggests that people can access knowledge, memories, and skills that aren't learned in this life. Some near-death experience accounts describe people becoming aware of their alternate selves in parallel realities. And then you have like ancient Egyptian teachings, right? The Ka, the life force, and the Ba, the soul, existing simultaneously in different realms. Egyptian texts suggest that the Ba, the soul, could travel between dimensions, possibly influencing other versions of oneself. And the Book of the Dead describes encounters with different versions of itself in an afterlife, echoing modern ideas about parallel realities. This has been around a really long time. Native Americans, Indigenous, share this wisdom too. The Hopi believe that in this like great web where all versions of yourself are connected, their prophecy speaks of multiple worlds existing at once, and the choices determine which one we walk into. Sounds a lot like Marina Jacobi's stuff, right? And then the Lakota Sioux teach that we dream ourselves into being, implying that our consciousness weaves in and out of different existences. Have you ever felt like you woke up in a different version of your life? Like your reality shifted? Did you ever feel that like you woke up? I know there was a time in like December, I want to say something around December, and it felt like everything moved. And you know when too, after the election, we were in Sedona, John and I, and it felt like we woke up on a different timeline. Everything just felt different. And it did again in December. So I don't know. Have you guys ever experienced something like that where you feel like something major just shifted and stuff feels different? And then when you started seeing people talking or whatever, it just it all sounded different too. Um, let's see. It all makes sense, but it can be a challenge to constantly apply it to get the outcome we want. It's true. It's true. Um, Thank you for covering this. I want to understand it. I know. Well, it's so fascinating. Thank you for being here to sit with me through it. I think it's really important for us to understand this as we're unpacking and things are unfolding, because we're starting to get a glimpse of life looking so much different than what we knew it to be. And as we do, if we have at least, we don't have to be like super proficient in these ideas, but just to have heard them and be able to understand them in a context that as these things start to unfold, we can kind of go, oh, you know what? That makes so much more sense now. And I have an understanding of maybe how this stuff works. Um, but yeah, you did notice after the election too. Yeah, said Stephanie. I know it was really interesting. There's not a whole bunch of times that you can feel that, but definitely, there's been a few that have been like that. So some like signs about like parallel influence could be feeling suddenly like you have personality shifts, or new talents or unexplainable memories. um, and what about deja vu? What about deja vu? What could that be? Could it be a brief alignment with like another version of yourself? Um, Kind of seems like it, right? Because you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I did this, or I feel like didn't we already did this before, or we watched this before, or you said exactly that, and then I said exactly this. What is that? Um, what about strong emotions towards places and people that you've never met? But all of a sudden you have this thing. Could you be aligning with like a parallel version of you that has already been to this place, dealt with this person before? Um, there's documented cases of people accessing parallel lives, talents, memories. One of the most fascinating aspects I could find, and I got a couple of them, of parallel lives is a reported case of people suddenly developing new talents and skills. And while mainstream science doesn't usually attribute that to parallel lives, they'll call it latent ability or subconscious memory recall. Many esoteric traditions suggest these are glimpses from parallel selves, which we talked about some of the like Egyptian and indigenous people and stuff like that. But there's also some in like India and things like that. So there was this case study of this sudden piano prodigy, Derek Amato. In 2006, Derek Amato suffered a severe concussion after diving into a shallow pool. After his accident, he suddenly became a musical genius, able to play complex piano compositions despite never having any formal training at all with the piano. And, people can say a lot of different things, but one of the explanations is that his brain rewired itself to tap into a version of himself in a parallel reality where he had spent years mastering the piano. His case has been studied by neuroscientists as an example of acquired savant syndrome. But in esoteric views, it suggests that he accessed a parallel self, that parallel self's talent. There was a woman who spoke a lost language. In the case of Sharada, there was a young girl in India. Her name was Sharada, and suddenly she began speaking Sanskrit fluently, despite never learning it. Linguists and historians verified her knowledge of ancient Sanskrit grammar that only trained scholars would know. She's a little girl. Um, this could be evidence of a past life or a parallel life in a reality where she studied Sanskrit extensively, or some suggest that she merged momentarily with a self uh, who was a Sanskrit scholar, allowing her this knowledge, to have it come through. I don't know. What do you guys think? Have you ever heard of this? Have you heard of these kind of examples of this stuff? We hear that stuff all the time. What is the explanation? in mainstream where people do this. They hit a side of their brain and something turns on, and now all of a sudden, they can speak languages that they never spoke before. They can recall things and stuff. And that could be an aspect of it. It's that, you know, maybe they turned something on in their brain that would explain them having a new talent or them being able to speak a new language, although it would be hard to explain if they've never actually heard it. It is not like learning French, right? This is like Sanskrit. We don't even use that anymore. Stephanie says, I've been having weird thing happen when I watch things I've never watched, yet I know I have seen it. I do that too. I check and it was created on a date that there was no way I could have seen it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I speak Brooklynese fluently. You do, babe. That's what we call his English, Brooklynese, because he's from Brooklyn. Lily talked about how they changed time and repeated 2 years, I think 2023 to 2025. So it could be why, and what's been happening. Oh, it's been happening to you. Yeah. Um, it could be. I mean, you never know. I don't know. Um, but in those cases, I can see. But then there was this man that remembered an entire parallel life. And that's the case of James Lininger, who is a young boy. James Lininger began recalling vivid memories of being in World War II as a fighter pilot named James Houston Jr. He had the name. And they verified he knew classified details about WW2 fighter planes that a child could not have known. He identified fellow soldiers and their fates, which were later confirmed by records. And his descriptions of the Pacific war zone matched historical documents. Now, how could a child know that? Right? So if we were going to talk about something happening with the brain or whatever, okay. And even the description that Lily gave, totally plausible. And if they did that before, then maybe they did it, in earlier times. But for parallel life connection, while many believe that this was a past life memory, others argue it could be a case of an active parallel self influencing James, which is what Stephanie was talking about, right? The idea that if time isn't linear, then we may have this like constant connection to versions of ourselves in other time periods. And then there was this doctor he's a neurologist, and he was studying brain anomalies in patients. And he discovered that patients, even ones with little to no brain matter, they could function normally. And so what it means is that some suggest that consciousness does not reside in the brain, but you tune into it through a greater field of intelligence. Remember we spoke about that? Potentially allowing access to parallel lives. So we were talking about those thoughts before. If consciousness is non-local, which we spoke about in our conversation last week when we were talking about holodynes in that book, Holodynamics, people may be tuning into skills, knowledge, and abilities from a parallel version of themselves, right? And what are your thoughts about that? Um, it's interesting. I moved to California in 2019, and when I drove out there, I had such a deep feeling like I was going home. A psychic told me I was part of a wagon train that traveled from the Midwest. Yeah, it's crazy when that happens. You've never been there, but you feel like you were. That's how I felt like when we were driving to Grafton, and I was looking at the Mississippi River, and I was just like, okay, I think I've been here before. They probably have done it before. Yeah. Hey, Tyler, how are you? So interesting enough, in 2018, I lived in the Midwest when I moved. Oh, that was the same one, right? Belonging to return. Yeah. So, there's that. Um, but it also would explain, like, if spontaneous skills and memories can appear without training, that it would hint that this conscious transfer or the interdimensional resonance that we were talking about, the stuff being in the field. And I think the more we engage in practices like meditation, intention setting, and lucid dreaming, the more we can, like, be able to consciously access parallel selves for positive outcomes. Have you ever had, like, yourself, or you've heard of somebody having like the skill and it like suddenly turns on as if they knew it before? Um, I didn't do a skill myself, but John and I, our daughter Gigi, she did that with archery. She just like picked it up and was like not even just proficient at it, but like really, really good. And when she saw that they offered it at her school, she all of a sudden just was like taking the ball and rolling with it. She wanted to do this. This was all her. She wanted to experience this, and she doesn't do that with a lot of stuff. It's kind of like you're kind of going, what about this? You want to try this? What about that? But this specific thing, archery, she she was completely interested. She wanted to be involved. She was proactive in getting herself into that, and she's really, really good at it. She won state. She's in competitions now. She's better than average, for somebody who had never done that before. So, you know, could that be that kind of a situation? And what about, talking about what Annette was talking about, being somewhere that you've never been before, but feeling like you're tied to it somehow? Um, so what about those things? When you feel like you're connected to a place, or a person, and you don't have any reasonable um, understanding of why something like that would happen for you. Um, yeah, that's right, Johnny. And then she switched to lefty without a learning curve. They told her she had a dominant, her her other eye was more dominant, so they had her switch bows. So she was doing it from the left, and she just same thing. She just kept rolling like it wasn't even, you know, a difficulty for her. It was really interesting. And that says, I've heard that consciousness is outside of us. We don't embody it, but rather it, our body is somehow a temporary part of consciousness, if that makes sense. It does make sense, because when we're talking about the unified field with Nassim Harriman, he talks about how, everything's interconnected in that field, including us on a cellular level, but even beyond, in a smaller micro of the cellular level, you're talking about, the Planck field, which is the teeny, 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 tiny stuff that like protons and things like that are made of. So, so you think of it in those terms. If consciousness lies within all of those things, it doesn't have to be just in our body. It's in the field. It's everywhere. And again, I was talking to Tyler about that in Journey to Truth, when he was talking about when you have an idea and it's kind of out there in the field, and five different people can have that idea at once, and it really comes down to like who's going to go and move forward with it. And I'm sure we've all had that before, where you had an idea. I was even saying that to him in that show. It's like you have this idea, you didn't do anything with it, but 2 months later you heard somebody had it, did something with it, and you're like, damn it, that was a really good one. Um, so I think, those things definitely happen. Um, and you talk about, people that are in this truther community, that people have talked about possibly having parallel life influence. Nikola Tesla's downloads. They said that he could be tapping into some other version of himself, or in a more advanced timeline that he was existing in. Edgar Casey, when he channeled from Atlantis and future technology, they were talking about him possibly drawing from a parallel self. And then what about the Mandela effect? Could shifts in collective memory be signs of parallel realities merging? I have a video about that with the Mandela effect. We've all had some, Mandela effect stuff, I'm sure. Let's look here. What about this one? The fruit of the loom. I totally remember it with the cornucopia. I don't know about you guys, but I know when I was a kid, this is what it looked like. I don't know. Okay, so let's look at this. This is about a minute long.
14 Mandela effects that make you doubt the past. Alexander Hamilton never served as the President of the United States. He was actually the first Secretary of the Treasury. Disney's Mickey Mouse character has a tail. Curious George has never had a tail. Some people remember different numbers of rings around the bullseye in the Target logo, but the one on the left is the correct one. The Berenstain Bears are actually called the Berenstain Bears. The Raisin Bran son doesn't wear sunglasses. There's no hyphen in the name of Kit Kat chocolate bars. In I Love Lucy, Ricky never actually said, "Lucy, you got some splaining to do." Shaggy from Scooby-Doo doesn't have a prominent Adam's apple. The song from Grease is actually Greased Lightnin', not Grease Lightnin'. Jiffy peanut butter doesn't exist. It's Cheez-It, not Cheez-Its. It's Captain Crunch, not Captain Crunch. Those onion ring snacks are called Funyuns, not Funyuns. Which of these facts shocked you?
So did you guys have any of those where you remember those? I'll show you that one in a minute, but I do. Like there was a few of those where I was just like, what? I totally remember a few of those Mandela effects. So let's see. Stephanie said, I had that when I was in Greece at a ruin. I knew things about the ruins that I knew I lived there, but I don't know if that was a parallel life or a past life. I think they're all parallel, if I'm honest. I think that's kind of they are. And Gianna did that too. Again, the same daughter that John and I, our daughter, when she started finding out information about Greece, she just same thing. There's no way that that kid has not had a past life there and knows it. And Emma is the same way with Japan. It's really interesting how that kind of stuff, how it works. So I think that's how that goes. Let's see, what is this? Time travel might be causing the Mandela effect. Yeah, it could. Oh, hey, Emma, how are you? Hi, Lisa. Hi, chat. Just came over from Maison Jupiter announcement. I will have to catch up via replay. Let's see. Totally with cornucopia. Oh, there's on there.
I didn't do that creepily or not.
That was super creepy.
Hi. Long time no see, everybody. Sorry, I didn't mean to rain on your parade. I just wanted to say hello. But I heard that you're talking about parallel lives and the Mandela effect. I was like, ooh,
yes,
sounds interesting.
Thanks. Yeah, we're just kind of going over some of the stuff that we were talking about possibilities with it. So I mean, I don't know, the Mandela effect thing I think is a direct influence. So
yeah, didn't you just brought up the one with Val Kilmer? He just passed away, and my mom was like, I swear to God, I remember his death being announced. What was it, like this time last year or something?
Well, I think it was like over a year ago. And I know that movie came out. That was like a movie about him and, his son and everything. We're talking about it. But I was looking at John and I'm like, didn't he already pass away? And John was like, did he? I'm not really sure. I'm telling you, I remember that he passed away because I was just like, wow, he's so young. What a shame, how all of that developed for him and stuff. And so, because it kind of struck me, so I don't know. That's what I remember. But apparently he just died. So
bummer.
Yeah. Okay, so what else? So I have another one that I want to talk. Well, let me see where I'm at with my with the Indigenous connection, there's a lot of shamans that describe slipping between worlds during trance states. where they communicate with their other selves to get wisdom and stuff. So, there's that too. But we were talking about with Stephanie how parallel lives and parallel selves can guide or interfere with you. So some versions of you may be thriving in a reality where you made different choices, and others could be stuck in a loop, repeating patterns that you've broken free from. And then did you ever have like dreams where you feel like you were getting direct downloads from like maybe an alternate version of yourself? Do you remember the dreams that like felt real? I know I did. I had one that was like on a spaceship that was that I felt like was I don't know why that's doing that. Sorry. That I was with children, and that felt really, really real. And it was like 2 weeks of this. That was weird. Why did it do that? I'm sorry. I'm having like computer issues. But anyway, so it was never the same dream. It wasn't like a reoccurring dream. I just kept being in the same place over and over again. And so that felt like, that was definitely visiting a parallel something with that one for sure. Did you guys ever have anything like that? Dad said hi.
Hello, Father.
She was talking to Emma, Celestial Emma. Yeah, documentary. Let's see. Me
That one.
too. I was surprised to see Val Kilmer's death. I thought he died already. Yeah, I felt like he did. Yes, that's Finn. He's a handsome boy, right, Finn?
I want to get him into modeling.
Oh.
Just to-
And then I feel like I remember him dying too, but it's vague. Yeah, it's crazy. I think those things are going to keep happening now. So can you interfere with other selves? I think in meditation you can interact, or if you get like altered states, they claim that you can influence another, part of your decisions or something like that. And then they talk about quantum entanglement. So maybe it's, you having information, or something that you're exchanging with yourself. So here's some lesser known claims of, parallel lives or something affecting you. The author of Blade Runner, Philip K. Dick, he claimed that memories of an alternate self in ancient Rome influenced his writing. And then there's Jimi Hendrix and Prince that both claim their music came from somewhere else, possibly from another version of themselves. And then there's indigenous dreamwalkers that, many native cultures describe interacting with themselves in a parallel dream state. So I don't know, what do you guys, yeah, that's Finn. Fabulous topic. Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting, just to kind of think about it in those terms. It's and if them all being parallel lives would explain them as simultaneous lives.
And it makes sense, like a lot of people have bleed through too, so whatever's going on in one would affect the other one as well. Sometimes you get spontaneous like feelings, or you feel like you've been at a place before and you can't explain exactly why. It makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. So then going into more about that, understanding that we exist in multiple versions of ourselves across infinite timelines means we can tap into those different versions to accelerate our growth, our healing, our manifestation. So it doesn't have to be, a negative influence that we have. So you can do that through like doing meditation, setting intentions for you to do that. You can send out a request to a higher version of yourself if there's something that you want to access or that you feel like you're doing. So if you're struggling with confidence, you could visualize a parallel self as a public speaker or a leader and ask for their energy to merge with yours so that you can see your mindset shift in your daily life. And you can intervene with your own trajectory by aligning with a parallel self that you've already succeeded. Every time you make a new choice, you shift into a new version of yourself, right? That's our quantum perspective on that. So the goal is to align with the most empowered, abundant, and healed version of yourself.
Not staying stagnant too, because they have a quote that says, what you're not changing, you're choosing.
Yeah.
So you can, find that more empowered self of yours. You know, we
So
all need that.
I want to show you another video. Let's see, where are we with this? I get time deja vu a lot. I know. It's really interesting. I don't know why that's not moving. Jumps, seeing the same thing again. Yeah. Hello, Lisa and Emma. Hi. I have to watch and replay. Thanks for stopping in, Tim, and always supporting us. We appreciate you. I wonder if our dreams are us traveling to different timelines. I think so. I think that we totally have dreams wrong. I think we're going to find out. There's a few different things going on there, but I don't think we're just laying there for 8 hours where our brain is imagining things. I don't think that's what's happening at all. So, we'll see. I've done that with parallel life in a meditation, but I need to continue doing it. Yeah. And once you've accessed that and done that, you kind of can find your way back to it. It's just a matter of not gaslighting yourself and to know that, you can do that and then accept what you get. That's the other part that's hard, right? You'll get something and then you'll be like, I wonder if that was what I just got that it was. And you're like, no, it's probably not. It's probably this or it's probably that. You can't do that. You have to just accept what you get. Okay, so watch this next thing. Okay, let's listen to this guy. Sorry, 1 second. I want to put this volume up. Start it over.
The significance of UFOs is multiple parts, but number one, it's not what you think it is. It's not coming from other planets. The evidence doesn't suggest that.
Interdimensional.
Yes, and the reason is because time is parallel. It's not linear, or it's not like we start here and go forward in time. Time is side by side, which means everything in the past and the future is existing in this moment, but within different frequencies. So a civilization that's at the end of their technological cycle could build a submarine that changes its voltage and materializes in that same location, just into our timeline. So there's a consciousness aspect to this. Like, you have to think of like consciousness is like, it's like the mind of God, it's not a dude in a toga with a crown of thorns making Jupiter. It's like everything you see is one band of frequencies. The highest frequency is light, unified mind. The lowest frequency would be blackness, absence of love, absence of whatever. And physical matter is somewhere right in the middle, right? So you have the ability to tune up higher or tune down lower, and behavior and all these things and time, and it all fucking comes together. But what it means also is that your brain is what's called a transducer. You're an antenna.
Well said.
So, okay. So, what do you guys think about that? Hi, Laura. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. What do you guys think about that? Do you guys think that makes sense to you? To me, it did. And how do we access these things and do them, on our own? If we want to have that, we talk about interference with past lives, but does that have to be a negative? I don't think so. If there's versions of you that are existing simultaneously and they're doing well and they're able to move through things that you're struggling to move through yourself, why not try to interact with that version of yourself that has that aspect of something that you're struggling with figured out already, and I have some ideas on like how you can do something like that. So the method that I would say to you is to close your eyes and imagine that you're walking into a doorway where your most confident, successful, and enlightened self exists. And step through and feel the difference in your vibration. Like, you have to embody it. So it's to tell yourself, as I'm walking through this, I'm feeling my vibration completely change, completely be different. And then you carry that energy with you into your like present reality. So you're allowing yourself to create this portal for you that's changing the way that you do things. And then I have this like quick visualization meditation. It's like a parallel self alignment. So you can go back and you can like listen to this if you guys want to, and copy it down or whatever you want to do. But you're going to want to close your eyes and breathe deeply. Imagine yourself surrounded by golden light. See multiple mirrors in front of you. Each mirror reflects a different version of you. And then find the mirror that holds the best version of you. Notice, the things about them that are different. What is their posture? What is their confidence? Are they wearing it on their face? What is their energy? And then you're going to step into that mirror, step through that mirror, and feel the shift in your energy. Absorb the knowledge and the emotions of this self and ask, what is your secret? How do I embody this now? And then imagine yourself merge completely with this self. Breathe in this transformation. When you're breathing in, imagine that you are now taking that in and incorporating that within yourself. And then you want to open your eyes and step forward into your new timeline.
I have a quick question. What about for the people who they have a hard time visualizing, though? Because some people I know can struggle with that. So what's something that they can do or a tool that they can use to still get the same effect?
Yeah, the most important thing is the intention, right? Mm-hmm. To hold that intention. So even if you can't visualize, every part of it, to say the words and to allow yourself the I'm trying to put up some stuff to say the words and allow yourself to speak through it, talk yourself through it, and say, I'm now, instead of, if you can't visualize all the mirrors, you say, there are 7 mirrors in front of me, there are 10 mirrors in front of me. I'm walking and looking at all of the mirrors. I'm looking at the version of myself in the mirrors. I'm finding the one that, is the most successful, has the best, highest frequency, and those are the things that you're doing. So you're just talking yourself through the steps that you can't see. And you can do that with everything. That when people are doing a visualization and you're trying to participate in the guided meditation, if you can't see it, say it in your mind. If the person's saying something, repeat it and say, I'm doing this, I'm walking through this, I'm sitting through this, whatever those things are, and get yourself in that way, because it's your intention really, and you wanting to hold the frequency.
Okay.
No, it's both negative and positive. Yes, believe it too. Be grateful for the challenges you get from another life, because it forces you to become stronger. It definitely changes your aspect and the way that you can look at things too. As a highly visual person, I love this exercise. Thank you, Lori Ann. I hope that you do.
She's great at coming up with like these little steps too, just to kind of start from, like baby steps, because it can get a little overwhelming sometimes. So especially if people are new to it.
Yeah, these are the kind of things like what you signed up for too. Annette, this is the kind of stuff that we do. It's like finding out what things, you're having struggles with your meditations and what you're trying to achieve. And then going into ways after that, I'll put together something and then I email it to you. And then we do a check-in later on and we see like what worked, what didn't, what can we tweak. And then, we'll meet again for like 10, 15 minutes that second time, just to see how things went for you. Because I think that meditation is really the most important, aspect of building the skill set. So
yeah, it's definitely not a one and done. She's very diligent about, checking and seeing how you're doing and all of that too. It's the follow-up. So
yeah, and
that's what I like.
She was thankful for you asking the question, because she has struggles with visualization. Yeah, I mean, it's nice if you can, but you don't have to in order to do it. And don't think that if you can't see something that you can't, get yourself to that place too. You still can. You just have to speak it, right? Because we're all different. And so then, so you want to do techniques to tune into your parallel lives. You want to do your meditation, either do visualization or like we spoke with, so you can be merging with the more empowered self. You can do automatic writing, channeling insights from another version of you. So if you feel like you're sitting there with your pen and paper and you don't really have anything, don't overthink it when you're trying to do automatic writing. You're going to have words that pop into your head. Write them down. It doesn't matter if they make sense. It doesn't matter if they're doing, you don't direct it, but you know, if you're sitting there and you got the word blue, write down blue. If you got the word dream, write down dream. Just keep doing that. With practice, it'll all start kind of making sense to you. For a while, it's a muscle, so you've got to give yourself an opportunity to do it. But the biggest thing is to teach yourself just to not second guess and just write it. And then the other thing is with dream work. So it'd be setting intentions to visit another reality when you're sleeping. And you can wake up and not remember anything. It doesn't mean that you didn't do it, but setting the intention. Also, if you wake up at all, have a pen and paper next to your bed and just write down a couple of things, because you know you've all done it. You're starting to think about something, you're walking to the bathroom, and by the time that you're sitting down on the toilet, you forgot what it was and you were like, what was that? I think there was something that was weird, but I don't remember. You know, so you have to like have the pen and paper right there before you get up. Just write things down. You're going to get more than you think you do. And then there's you know, a short practice that we can do about, you know, just doing like parallel life integration stuff. So following that thing that I gave you. I also wanted to mention to you guys, if you want to practice this stuff and you want to do it, I have some like crystals, essential oils, and stuff like that that you can do that will kind of amplify it and help you with like the resonance, so that you can do that. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about those things. Let's see what everybody's saying. Have an inner knowing. I think I did that. Yeah.
Oh,
With intense feeling. Oh, thank you, Emma. Appreciate that. Oh, yeah, I love automatic writing. I do it a lot. I'm going to try that with Parallel Me. Yeah, try it, and then let us know if you come back next week or something. Let us know. Put it in the chat, or you can write comments on this one, and I can go back and read them. I always try to read them and answer them. If I struggle, then I use sense of smell to visualize via incense, fruit, anyone that spurs in my thought or memory. That's perfect.
actually a really good technique. I never even thought to do that.
Yeah, that is. I sleep with crystals too. Some dreams are easy to remember, others not so much. It's true, and crystals can help you with that. Gotta go fix dinner. Thank you. Thanks for stopping by, Laura. Okay, so some of the stuff that you can use. So labradorite. So that's a stone of interdimensional travel. It enhances psychic ability and connection to higher consciousness, and it strengthens your intuition. So, you know, that might help you to be able to recognize messages from your parallel lives. And that Herkimer diamond, which I have on my ring,
It's upstairs, I think.
that I got in, yeah, I'm not sure where that's at right now, but that's an amplifier of visions. It increases clarity and it helps access knowledge from other versions of you. And then moldavite, that's on my moldavite ring. So makes sense that those would be together. The transformation catalyst. So that accelerates your timeline shifts and major life changes. And you can feel intense. So you want to put it with like grounding stones and stuff like that. So black tourmaline's good. And then shungite, because it's a stabilizer. So it helps ground like new parallel energies into your body without overwhelming you. And then for oils, frankincense, that's like a higher consciousness activator, so it can raise your vibration and open up your crown chakra, and it also enhances deep meditative states. And then sandalwood is a memory retrieval, so that stimulates your pineal gland. And then clary sage, for like, it's like a visionary oil, so it helps with like lucid dreaming and stuff, so that'll help you with like receiving insights from your parallel selves. And then rosemary is a cognitive enhancer, so it improves mental clarity. So you can diffuse them. You can anoint your third eye with them. I do that a lot, especially with frankincense. And then you can also put it in your bath with your crystals. You can put your crystals right in the water, and you can do that. So you know, any of those things would kind of,
Or you can put it on certain areas of the body too, right?
definitely,
Different effects.
yeah, you can definitely put it on different areas of your body too. So the crystals and the oils really help even with the brain health, definitely. I do that too. Let's see.
Labradorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephanie, we have many spiritual similarities for dealing with things. So cool.
Mhm.
They're making friends. Yeah, you can definitely burn that. So 432 hertz helps to get you ready for a spirit. Yes, definitely. Um, and our friend Craig has a channel on YouTube. Let me see if I can find it. I love his stuff. I've been using it to meditate a lot before I have my meditations about our when I sit down for a session. I let me see if I can find him. I've been using his stuff because I trust that when he says it's 432, there's nothing overlaid, there's nothing, else in there. So I'm gonna find his and share it with you.
Prankster.
Craig Walker. I'm on my other. I have him saved on my my personal one, but I'm on my personal YouTube, but I'm on the other one. So see if I can find him. Here he is. Okay. So this is it. So let me share this with you guys so you can see. If you want to know that the frequency that it says is the frequency that you're getting. This is it. Craig W. Ascension Meditations. And they're all 432. And there's more. He's got a ton of them. But these are great. So I strongly recommend, if you're going to do 432, at least for sure, I trust his stuff and know that if he says that it's 432, it's definitely 432. Okay. So yeah, so that's what I have today. Yeah, you use Craig too. Yeah, he's amazing.
He's awesome.
Yeah, I only have 432 bowls.
Oh, but you have bowls though. That's got to be really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunate all the way through college, the music department never, always 440. I know. The smell is out of this world. Is that for the sandalwood? Are we talking about sandalwood? I missed that one. But anyway, I think that that's kind of what I had for you guys today about parallel lives. And so I hope you guys got something out of it. And next week, I'm going to be back on Monday. We're going to kind of continue this conversation and go through, some more aspects of it and building it. So if you didn't see last week's with, us kind of living in a hologram and then going into the parallel lives, go back and watch that one, because I think that they really build on each other. And let me know your feedback on these if you feel like they're helpful. And if you have any ideas of things that you want to cover, then I'm always open to do that. But it was great hanging out with all of you. And I hope that, you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next Monday. Now, Wednesday, Johnny's going to have his John Drop at 10 a.m. And then we may have something on Thursday or Friday. We were talking about that because everything's like Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and then we don't have anything at the last part of the week, but we're still looking at that. So let us know what you guys think. Let's see. Super cool topic. Thank you. Great show. Thank you. You gave great amount of practical information as well. Oh, thank you. Thanks, guys. Okay, good. So, awesome. Okay, well, I love all of you, and I appreciate you guys all being here with me. I look forward to hanging out with you guys again really soon. You want to say anything?
Yeah, it's good to see everybody. I know I kind of dropped off the map. I'm so busy with I'm getting back into my career stuff, my esthetician stuff. So
Hopefully they can hear you.
Yeah, hopefully you guys can hear me. But I was actually talking to my mom about maybe trying to hop on and do an episode here soon, and with my boss, so we can kind of talk about some of the benefits of like skincare. And there is a spiritual aspect to it, which you guys will find very interesting. So we'll just try to work out the details of that. But I didn't go anywhere, I promise.
Yeah. So thank you. Love you too, Johnny. And everyone, we will see you guys. We'll see you guys
next
soon.
time.
Yes, we'll see you soon, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay. Bye, everyone.